Well, my name is Gabriela Rojas. I work for ACLU of Southern California as a Know Your Rights coordinator. I graduated with my BA in history from Cal State LA in 2016. As part of my work, what I do is I do a lot of outreach to the community. A lot of my department is community engagement. So I partner with other local organizations, trying to specifically target like underprivileged or like oppressed communities, and trying to help them get more involved in like the civil rights process, helping them become more familiar with like civil rights issues, and kind of just sort of helping them to understand, like in our context right now in the and always right in the world, is like how all of these issues relate to them, and how they can be a part of everything that is going on. I think what led me to be interested in history was kind of growing up as like what is considered a first generation American, the daughter of Mexican and Salvadorian diaspora, very much, and like growing up under like Governor Pete Wilson and Prop 187 and a lot of like the anti-immigrant backlash that happened back in like the mid and early 90s. I very much always felt kind of like an outsider in American society. Like, yes, I was an American-born citizen, whatever that means, but I was still kind of seen as like an other. And so I never really felt like I fit in. I always felt very much like an outsider, which led me kind of like in my junior high and high school years to find like the punk rock subculture, right? Like one specific band that was like a huge influence on me was this band called the Dead Kennedys. And just in the name alone, like that invokes history, right? The Kennedy family. And like growing up, again, kind of like feeling like an outsider, where when you learn like a history in like elementary school, junior high, and high school that is like very white centric, very Eurocentric, because I felt like I was like so brainwashed and so like attempting to be whitewashed, being raised in American culture, and that brought to my attention like the existence of like a history outside of America. So that really made me want to learn, and also too, like growing up, my dad telling me that like Cuauhtemoc was my great grandfather or whatever, like led me to kind of like want to dig deeper and learn something beyond like George Washington history. One of the main things that stood out to me was the way that like the history department did, I felt like, decenter Eurocentrism and like white history, or like the mainstream history that we're usually taught. Because my focus was on US history, looking at race, gender, and class inequality. So I felt like I definitely like got more of the history education that I was looking for, stuff that I could relate to more, and stuff that, I mean, is like often really overlooked in US history, like the contributions that people of color or like other genders and sexualities have contributed to US history, which is mainly like really like the fight for freedom for everyone, right? So that was, I think, probably my favorite part. I think it was a really awesome education from really awesome professors. You know, shout out to Dr. Flager, who was my advisor, and who was like super helpful in my whole process, and also to Dr. Sroll, who like really pushed me when, you know, I was doing well, but she believed that like I could do even better. So I really appreciate her for challenging me on that. I think just like every class that I took like kind of was a surprise to me. Like I would go in, like, for example, really not wanting to take Greek history, but like taking it because I had to take it, and then like really loving it at the end. You know, looking at it in a critical way, learning to, or I guess like unlearning like the whitewashing that has even happened of like Greek history. Dr. Vergara's class of like looking at like, for example, revolutions that have happened like throughout Latin America. And then like I think my 450B class with Dr. Lee was like awesome. That was like the new conquest history, like challenging all of those preconceptions that folks have had like for centuries, right? About how the conquest happened, and just kind of learning to read history in a different way. So all of those things were things that I really loved about my time at Cal State LA. So I was aware of ACLU for a long time, and the work that they do. They're like one of the top organizations or like nonprofits in the United States, probably, I would say. So I was aware of them, but I was never expecting to work here. It actually kind of happened by accident. I was sort of in the middle of like volunteering and interning and kind of just like exploring opportunities that were out there, and also kind of trying to get experience that was geared toward what I wanted to do, which is like social justice, right? I'm super passionate about social justice issues. So I was actually looking for like my next opportunity through Eagle Eye Jobs, through the Career Development Center. And I happened upon this fellowship opportunity through AmeriCorps. And I applied. I had no idea that ACLU was going to be one of the partner organizations, but I was accepted into a 10-month program, and I got a position with ACLU as a fellow, a public service fellow. And my fellowship ends in June, and I've been offered a full-time position starting in July. So don't stress. I know that's easier said than done because I spent like an entire year stressing. I still stress every day about what's going to happen tomorrow, but I have found that that cheesy saying is like really true, is it's about the journey, not the destination. You kind of don't know where life is going to take you. You might meet somebody or travel someplace that will really influence your life. So try not to get caught up in thinking about tomorrow or a month from now or a year from now. Try to enjoy being present in the moment. Life doesn't really have timelines. That life doesn't happen on a schedule. I feel like when you are in academia, like you kind of learn to be like very structured. You kind of get institutionalized in a sense, right? Like everything is on a calendar. You know exactly when that midterm is going to be. You know exactly when that final is going to happen. The syllabus breaks everything down for you and kind of tells you exactly what to do at all times. And I think that's one of the hardest things that I've had to go through, like after graduating, is like kind of breaking out of that mentality. So just, enjoy your life. Travel, talk to people that might not be from where you are, who may not have had the same experiences as you, and try not to plan too much because you never know where life is going to take you.